A while back, a friend and I were talking about our favorite movie scores. I started searching through movie scores, trying to find my favorites, and when I was done, I decided to see if I could come up with a top 10. As I narrowed the list, I realized I wasn't looking for my favorite overall movie score, but a track from a movie that encapsulated scenes or moments or overall feelings from movies I love. I only had 2 rules for this list. I could only pick 1 track per movie, and it had to be a track that was originally orchestrated for the film. So no pop songs like in the Guardians of the Galaxy mixtape. When I finished, I decided to write up what made those tracks meaningful to me. So spoiler alert, in this video I may not only have to describe the foundation of the movie, but the overarching plot or themes as well. I'd also like to note that I only have very basic music training, so where I'm talking about the music itself, I'm simply doing my best to communicate how the music makes me feel. Because the video ran so long, we decided to split it up into 2 parts. Part 2 will be released in 2 weeks. Here are the first 5 of my favorite movie score tracks in no particular order. Choreographer Panna Riddikrayai once described martial arts movie star Tony Jaa as being superhuman. He said that Tony Jaa can float on the air a little longer than most people. That's like Back to the Future. It seems to have just a bit more magic than other movies. Carry us just a little higher. And Alan Silvestri's music helps hold us up there. Marty McFly is a screw-up from a family of screw-ups. His old man is a pushover who gets bullied and doesn't believe in himself. And, like his father, Marty is the same.
I mean, what if they say I'm no good? What if they say, get out of here, kid, you got no future? I mean, I just don't think I could take that kind of rejection.
Marty gets chewed out by the school's principal for being late. He turns up speakers too loud and blows them up. He oversleeps when he's supposed to meet his friend, Doc. When Doc invents a time machine and inadvertently sends Marty 30 years back in the past, Marty must reunite with Doc's younger self in order to get back to the future. While in the past, Marty screws up by causing his mother to fall for him instead of his father. To fix it, he starts coaching his father on how to be more confident and how to attract her. And that's when Marty starts changing. When some bullies start chasing Marty, he makes a mock skateboard to get away from them. It's not that Marty is privy to information, technology, and abilities that people from the past don't have. It's that he's finally gaining confidence in himself. Even still, as he's fleeing, he crashes into a couple of people and topples over. It's these constant reminders of Marty's failures that make his successes so relatable. That quickens our heartbeat when we see the sparks fly from his skateboard, because Marty's victories become our victories. Alan Silvestri's Overture encompasses this entire story. The warm strings and the soft trumpet that soothe us into feeling at home. The single flute that precludes mystery and adventure. The thunderous drums that sound like they accompany someone falling down. And the steady, marching drumbeat that climbs as Marty struggles forward, which leads into the menacing piano. And finally, back to the triumphant brass section, French horns blaring that familiar chorus that we associate with the flaming tire marks, headed back to the future. Condorman would never work if Michael Crawford didn't play his character Woody so straight. The movie is a story about a man who draws and writes a comic book called Condorman, a superhero with a fiery-colored, flying condor suit. Woody has unfortunate beliefs about comics. He foolishly thinks that his comics have to be based on reality. He tells his friend Harry, who works for the CIA,
You know that. If Condorman can't do something in real life, then I won't have him do it in one of my comic books.
Through Harry, Woody is asked to take some papers to Istanbul. Harry asks Woody because the mission requires a civilian, but when Woody meets his contact, the beautiful Natalia, he tells her he's a top agent and his code name is Condorman. This eventually leads to him living out a comic book fantasy of rescuing a damsel and getting every kind of superhero tech he can conceive of to do it. It's campy, but Condorman isn't just about that. It's about love. After their initial meeting, Woody draws Natalia from memory. Longing violin strings play as the camera slowly travels towards Woody sitting at his drawing desk. When Woody begins to draw, a brief music box-like melody plays over top the strings. The scene, much like the music box tune, is a canvas for us to project our imagination onto. The camera faces the canvas as though we are Woody's eyes, as though we are the dreamer. From that angle, we project the same desire and longing for Natalia that Woody has. Then, propelled by the ethereal music box tune, we fall in love.
Isn't she beautiful?
Bible Study is the musical combination of all of 3:10 to Yuma's different stories. It is about a one-legged father, Dan Evans, trying to bring infamous fugitive Ben Wade to justice. It is about the unusual loyalty of Wade's men and their dogged determination to rescue him. It is about men who hate, admire, and envy each other. And it is about a shamed father trying to redeem himself in his son's eyes. Marco Beltrami's Bible Study plays during the climax, while all these plots are blossoming during the chase sequence. When composing the score, Beltrami used only 19th century instruments, though some were digitally recreated. A guitar plays the main chase sequence, which escalates in tempo, while a set of strings rise with that tempo. The guitar is the tension of the increasingly dangerous chase, while the strings are the emotional underbelly. Both instruments struggle against each other to dominate until at last a trumpet enters, mimicking the strings, like something we might hear in an Ennio Morricone western. Bible Study is little elements of all the musical themes we've heard throughout the film that have helped define the plot, the characters, and their motivations. The tune signifies a remarkable moment when a weak man becomes a hero, a bad man becomes a good man, and a son becomes his father. The violins that dominate Gattaca's main theme suggest, at times, that someone has died. These violins bookend the film. They are at the start and they are at the end. But Gattaca isn't about death. It is about the pursuit of life from a hollow, joyless existence. Set in a not-so-distant future where the genetically enhanced are offered every societal advantage, Gattaca follows the dreams of one unenhanced man, Vincent Freeman. In addition to his inferior genes, Vincent is also hindered by a heart disorder that makes his dream of space travel impossible in the eyes of potential employers. Desperate, he illegally poses as Jerome Morrow and passes security checks by using Jerome's superior DNA. Jerome is born with every advantage, but lives in crippled misery and claims,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Vincent desperately wants to leave his world. Every morning he violently brushes his skin, trying to eradicate as much of himself as possible. Yet he tackles his dream with ferocity, something few of us dare to do. Composer Michael Nyman's The Other Side mimics the film's theme. It infuses the audience with Vincent's perspective. He is less than he should be, less than he can be. He often feels alone in his struggle. The mournful strings are pervasive and ceaseless. The tune oscillates from lone, sorrowful violin to a second group of strings with a faster tempo. As the second set of strings joins and increases the tempo, we become excited and invested in Vincent's efforts. And then we return to a solitary tune with a different instrument, like a flute. The track is a constant back and forth between melancholy and perseverance, between Vincent's misery at the bottommost rung of society and his ironclad resolution to climb to the stars. Michael Nyman captures the film's heart like few composers do. In those brief, serene moments with a single violin, we feel Vincent's isolation. And as Vincent gazes up at the stars, we adopt his dreams as our own and rejoice with every step upward, from beneath the heel of society's boot, past the heavens, and beyond. I keep coming back to this Unbreakable track. Most of Unbreakable's soundtrack is searching, much like its characters. David is a security guard who is slowly learning and accepting that he is unbreakable. Elijah is a fragile comic art seller who is both trying to convince David of his special abilities, while simultaneously trying to understand why his own bones are so brittle. He insists there is a purpose. The soundtrack is light for the majority of the story. It's understated. Sometimes we just have light piano or strings. It's almost droning. So when David finally accepts his abilities and confronts the Orange Man, there's a swell of emotion in the music. The strings flourish and a lone trumpet rises up and carries the melody to triumph. We get a similar swell when Elijah admits to David who he really is at the end. Because in these two moments they are both realizing who they are. David is a hero and Elijah is a villain. And this is the moment I think of every time I hear that flourish of strings and that trumpet. I get goosebumps thinking of Elijah's speech as he cries out to David.
I should have known way back when. You know why, David? Because of the kids.
They called me Mr. Glass.
Thanks for watching, guys. What are some of your favorite movie scores? Let us know in the comments below. If this is your first time on the channel and you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe. There's a new video every month. And if you really liked it, hit that like button. See you guys in 2 weeks for part 2 of my favorite movie soundtracks.